Greetings, my fellow extraterrestrials. Today we're talking High Brazil, which, for those of you who don't know, is sort of another Atlantis story, in that it's an island that may or may not have sank, may or may not have existed, and many rumors surround it about having this mysterious mist disappearing into it, technology, all that good stuff. So we're going to get into that a little bit, but not a lot, because my primary argument for the island of High Brazil is in the factual world, more so than the legends and all the exciting lore behind it. So by that I mean, did it exist? Is it possible that an island can appear and disappear, be there 1 minute and gone the next? Is it possible that an island can have a routine of disappearing and reemerging? And for that argument, I say yes. So first, we'll just talk about some of the legends briefly. Sorry, I'm a bit congested today, and it's snowy out. It's just a snow day. It's also why it's a naked face and glasses day, too. I'm just not feeling it. Anyway, so first, the legends. The Atlantis-like legends. So the island is just off the coast, or legend rumored to be just off the coast of Ireland. Ireland has some amazing lore and legends. I love Irish lore. And some of the lore mentions the island of High Brazil and that advanced beings inhabit the island with superior technology. And anyone who gets close to the island, I guess you get redirected. You don't ever make it to the island disappears. There's various versions of that, but really there's just no conclusive story, written history of someone having actually landed on the island and made contact with people and documented what was there. Nothing validated anyway. There are rumors from sailors going clean back to the 1300s. I think there's at least one ship's log in which a captain documented having landed on the island, but no details of having met natives or having encountered advanced technologies. So what we have from ship's logs and documents from sailors and sightings from the 1300s to the 1800s is that they've seen the island. They either attempted to reach the island but then lost it in the mist, or they saw it, documented it, went on their merry way, and one potential having landed there but not a whole lot else about that. So that's what we have to go on. And the fact that there were sailors documenting this island in that area does suggest to me that it was there. Maybe it just wasn't much to talk about. Maybe it was just an island. But according to some of the lore and the legends, especially in the Irish lore and legends of High Brazil, it was a mysterious place with advanced technology and magical beings, if you will. Now, it is also described to have that same sort of circle within a semicircle shape that Atlantis was described as having. So this could potentially be like another Atlantis story, a variation of it, or even the remnants of, maybe if the Atlanteans were so advanced and they foresaw their doom or had enough time to prepare, or even if they didn't and it sort of took them suddenly, if they were advanced enough, they could have potentially secured an outpost. This could be like a survivor's island, an outpost, theoretically. But it may just be the Irish version of Atlantis. It may be the story that inspired Atlantis. And thus, not a whole lot to go on. But as far as islands in that area, now that's where we have at least some physical evidence. Because if you look at the Google Earth even, you can see beneath the ocean that there does appear to be islands or land masses that stem from, and they're just off the coast of Ireland. So Ireland could be what remains of a larger landmass. Much like some of the other islands, like the islands of Hawaii and things like that, there's larger land masses, and these are just the tops of those land masses that are at high enough elevation to be above the water level. So there is evidence to support the potential of there having been more islands in that region. And some of the old sea charts and the written documentation from sailors from the 1300s to the 1800s would indicate that there was an island in the rumored location of Hy Brasil. And that's not really too surprising to me, because since the 1800s, the sea levels have risen and continue to rise, partially due to the burning of fossil fuels making the environment warmer. But also, there was a sort of mini ice age event happening between the 1300s and 1800s. And by that I mean there were documented cold periods, which are like little ice ages. Scientists refer to them as little ice ages because what happens during those colder periods is the water, the sea levels drop because the water gets frozen and trapped in glaciers. So if the water is basically just frozen up north and is in glaciers and the sea levels are lower, it's likely that more landmass could have been revealed. Now, as for that rumored every 7 years, weather patterns have been known to be cyclical. There are documented events like El Nino in which weather patterns have shown to be predictable. So, assuming that between the weather patterns and these little ice ages, the water levels were lower, perhaps a documentable low every 7 years, it might make sense that an island would emerge every 7 years only to disappear again. Now, whether it was shrouded in mist and full of advanced mythical magical beings, well, that remains to be seen. But given this sort of mystique, these sort of things weren't well known in the time periods of the 1300s to the 1800s. It's not like everybody was walking around with this knowledge and this understanding of weather patterns and why this island was there and then gone and then there again. So this would have seemed very magical, mystical to the people of those time periods, potentially. And this could have spurred on rumors, especially if, you have these sailors and tall tales. Sailors tell stories. Sailors have been known to embellish. Sailors are superstitious and they like to return from their trips and have an audience and put on a good show and tell everyone of their exploits and their heroic dealings. And of course, that might include the finding and exploring of a mysterious island that, oh no, you can't go there now because now it's gone. It only appears every so often and then it disappears, and we happen to have found it. So, given the time periods and the way sailors behaved, especially in those time periods, I can see where the rumors could have originated or, at the very least, been exacerbated. Had they heard the Hy Brasil rumors and the lore, the Irish lore, in their travels and then come across this island themselves, they of course would have ran with it. And being that sailors are sailors, there may have been some sailors already familiar with myths like Atlantis, because, the 1300s and the 1800s, all the way through, that time period happened after Plato's time. And so I'm sure there was some knowledge, at the very least, of the myth of Atlantis. And this would have played right into it. This would have played right into a sailor's desires to uncover these lost civilizations and these lost islands that may or may not have magical advanced technologies and who knows what. So given the time period, I can see where the rumors may have muddied the waters as to the actual truth behind Hy Brasil. But that doesn't discount an island having been there and having appeared and disappeared in a cyclical nature of every 7 years or so. That being said, is this another Atlantis story, or is this simply misinterpretation of weather patterns and maybe a little bit of storytelling on our ancestors' part, because who doesn't love a good sea tale, right? Anyway, I just wanted to keep this one brief, short. If you want to know more in detail about the lore behind Hy Brasil, or the weather patterns and the time periods and the little ice age that could have potentially led to the legend of Hy Brasil, obviously I'm a writer. I've said this before, I write better than I speak. I don't like to hear my own voice. I don't like to do these videos. That's why it takes so long for me to do them and get them up there. But I understand that some of you prefer vlogs over blogs. However, if you want to know more in great detail, please do check out the blog. It's on my website with all the other latest blogs and releases, and it is the island of Hy Brasil. So, hope you enjoyed this video, this brief little rundown of Hy Brasil, and check out my website for more content. In the meantime, stay extra, my fellow terrestrials.